Yeah,
Let me
please.
ask you a question, because I think you
Please.
made a very important point. Because I hear this, when I talk to lawyers that are thinking about going out on their own, you had a realistic view of it. As you said, like, I have to recreate myself. I have to recreate my network. I think that's something that a lot of lawyers tend to skip over. They think, I have the knowledge, I'll just go open my own practice, without thinking through, but how am I going to do that? So tell us a little bit about how you did sort of recreate yourself, and what things did you start doing, because you had to build a network from scratch, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even though I had a few family members in the area, but in terms of people in the legal community, I was starting from ground zero as far as I was concerned. So, I joined bar associations. I got involved. And now, some people might say, well, Elsa, you're a social butterfly. I am. I make no bones about it. You put me in a room with 500 people that I don't know, and I will make my way, through. I will make my way through the room, and just connecting and, all the good stuff, because that's just how I'm wired. But it takes time, and in terms of getting comfortable enough with people so that they're referring cases to you, that takes time. It's that know, like, and trust factor.
Absolutely.
So you need to be visible. You need to not be afraid and get out of your own way. If you're shy, guess what? Buck up. You're gonna, if you want people to know who you are,
right. Get over it.
You've got to step out, way outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. So you were not only building a network from scratch, you were building a whole new practice.
Indeed, because when I finally decided to stop doing the e-discovery work I was doing and said, okay, well, I'm going to leave this firm and go out on my own. That was, and I started, Elsa, and by this time I was married, so I was no longer Elsa Waite, which was my former name. I was now Elsa Smith. And I started the firm in like a Q4 of 2012. And I was doing what I knew for a long time, and that was criminal defense work. So I was on, taking panel cases, working with the Office of the Public Defender, and it was great. Got exposed really quickly to judges, attorneys, and I was in my element, which is fine. But then the longer I did it, again, it's like you're constantly evolving. And the conversations I was having with self, it's like, Elsa, what is your next chapter going to look like? You're here, you're developing this network. What's next for you? So did a lot of introspection, and really was asking myself, like, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? Not just what brings in a paycheck, but what brings me joy.
Right.
And what brings me joy is, actually helping people, specifically helping women. And I'll tell you a little more about that, because that's kind of how I got into, estate planning. And you tell me if I can go ahead and dovetail into that.
Yes, I'd love for you to tell that part of the story.
Absolutely. So I got to a point where I wanted to do something new, and but yet serving the public. And I again did a lot of introspection and said, well, what brings me joy? And I remember that shortly after I got married, my husband and we created our estate plans. Mm-hmm. And I remember, first of all, it's like, gee, now I feel like a grown up. I have a portfolio, I have an estate plan.
Yeah.
And at the time, it didn't hit me that that was something that I could, harness that feeling, that energy that came from that experience into a practice. I didn't put the two together. It wasn't until, I got to the point where I was feeling drained and I wanted a different quality of life. So I was looking for something new. And through webinars, seminars, and stuff, estate planning kept coming up, and people were like, "Listen, when you're doing something else, let us know." And this was it. And then I'm like, okay, great. So started taking continuing legal education courses, talking to people that were in the estate planning world, and I became even more interested. I'm like, okay, well, how do I distinguish myself from everybody else that's doing estate planning?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in Maryland. Yeah. But here's the thing, Sharon, the ABA has already, published a while ago that less than 5% of the attorneys in the States are people of color. Okay. And now, can you imagine in the estates and trust area, right? I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
So,
good point. Good point.
And aside from that, I'm a native Spanish speaker, and quite frankly, since I've moved to Maryland, there've been, just a few people that I've encountered that are either native Spanish speakers or that they're fluent and they're practicing and use that in their practice. Mm-hmm. So, my husband was telling me for years, you speak Spanish, you've got to use this.
Right.
You got to
use it. Exactly.
So I did. And, I stopped, just because, there's not like a huge Cuban community there's a light again. I love this stuff. On the replay, I'm really going to enjoy going back and looking at that.